Between having brutal food poisoning in Tahiti in September of 2022, to stomach pain and loose stools a few times in Argentina a few months later, to then having food poisoning again the next year in Colombia, and then finally to being hospitalized on heavy antibiotics this past Thanksgiving for a leg infection, my digestive tract experience over the past couple of years has been nothing short of Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate events. Despite this, thankfully every time I've managed to make a full recovery where I no longer have any digestive issues. I'm not telling you this as a flex, but there's been some things that I've personally found to be super helpful with gut health and digestion that I'm going to share with you in this video. What's up and welcome to the video. I'm Dr. Daniel Ricciardi, gut health expert, licensed pharmacist, fitness enthusiast, and creator of SIBO Shortcut, the online program helping you get rid of small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. It's now March, which means summer's around the corner. Perfect time to get you digesting your food well so you're not bloated during the summer. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 of my favorite things to do for gut health that will take your digestion from assistant to the regional manager to full-on gut health czar. Each of these things costs $0 to do. I do them on a daily basis and I swear by them because time and time again, like I mentioned before, they've got me out of trouble and helped me get back to digesting food well. The 5 topics are: number 1, chew more; number 2, DeStress Eat; number 3, sip not gulp; number 4 is shorten the list; and number 5 is snack time's over. All right, let's get started. Number 1, chew more. Have you ever seen the Coney Island hot dog eating contest? It's an annual competition where the contestants eat so many hot dogs they would likely put an adult grizzly bear to shame if they were going up against that bear. If you live outside the US, yes, this is something that we do. During this competition, chewing of food is not really done too much because you're trying to eat as fast as possible, but in reality, this probably isn't too far off of what most of us typically do when we eat. Consider this for a second. Chewing is literally the only part of your digestion that you have any control over. After you put the food in your mouth, chew it up and swallow it, it's up to your body to do all the rest of the work. Which do you think would be easier to digest? Very large chunks of food or food that's basically in the consistency of jelly? Depending on what food you're eating, the ideal number of chews can be way higher than you think. If it's something very crunchy like almonds or even certain types of vegetables, it's not wrong to chew that piece of food at least 30 times. Historically, I'm very guilty of this. I would barely chew my food enough where it's small enough to swallow, and then I would go for the next bite of food. If you're anything like me, you're the person that eats their food the fastest and then sits and looks at other people at the table and wonders if they're going to finish their food. I understand that sometimes people only have a few minutes to eat and that sometimes you have to be in a rush, but I do want to make you aware of this concept because it can be very powerful in improving digestion. Try this. Chew each piece of food till it's applesauce-like consistency. If you're eating applesauce, you don't need to chew, but for many other foods, this can take at least 30 chews like I mentioned before. As an added bonus to better digestion, you'll actually be able to taste your food longer and be able to enjoy each bite more. Because you're eating slower, you may eat fewer calories, experience weight loss, and you may be able to enjoy conversation more while you're eating. Number 2 is de-stress eat. You've heard of stress eating, this is de-stress eating. Here's a scenario, hopefully this never happens to you, but consider this. If your life was truly in danger, you would want as much energy and as much blood flow to go to your muscles so you're able to fight or be able to run away, and also your brain so you're able to think your way out of tight situations. In this moment, your body would care very little about digesting food because that's not immediately important to your survival. Reeling this back in, the issue with this is the stress from your life truly being in danger can affect your digestion the same way as if your boss is nagging you about getting something done on time. Eating while you're stressed can result in the release of fewer digestive secretions such as stomach acid, such as digestive enzymes, and such as bile, which you really need to help you digest food properly. If you don't have enough of them, food can end up sitting in your digestive tract longer than it should, produce gas, and cause you to have worse digestion. When you eat while you're stressed, you give your body mixed messages of what you want it to do because your body can only be in a fight or flight state or a rest and digest state, and it's not good at doing both of those at the same time. Try this. Before eating a meal, close your eyes and take 6 slow deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. This can help switch your body into a stressed fight or flight state to a relaxed rest and digest state, potentially helping you digest your food better. Number 3 is sip but not gulp. Everyone's always saying drink more water, you should drink more water. While this is usually good advice, sometimes the timing of when you're drinking this water can be bad. If you have digestive issues, it may be a good idea to not hydrate while you're actually eating. The reason is too much liquid while you're eating can dilute that stomach acid that you need to properly digest your food. Like I mentioned for the other example before, this means if your food's not being digested as well, it can sit in your stomach and intestines longer, become poorly digested, produce gas, and cause you additional additional digestive symptoms. Try this. Hydrate well in between meals, but not during. A good general rule you can follow is to stop drinking liquids 20 minutes before you're going to be having a meal. Take small sips during meals, but ideally drink a minimum amount of fluid while you're eating. You do not need to finish your beverage. After eating, continue having small sips up to about 45 minutes to an hour after the meal ends, and then go back to hydrating normally. This may help you have stronger stomach acid so you can digest food better. Number 4 is shorten the list. This concept I'm going to explain to you now is my compass when determining what to eat and what not to eat, because I don't follow any particular diet. The only rule that I do have is that I eat whole foods as much as I possibly can, foods that don't have any additional colorings, flavorings, thickeners, or any other ingredients. Some of these extra ingredients that are very commonly found in food can make that food much more difficult for your body to digest, and sometimes can also cause additional inflammation, which can give you digestive symptoms. This may be kind of confusing, but to make it a little bit simpler, just pick foods with ingredient labels that are as short as possible. Bonus points if that ingredient label only has one food listed on that label, or better yet, no ingredient list on the food at all, because it's obvious what that food is. For example, I bought Greek yogurt the other day. Before I grabbed it off the shelf, I looked at the ingredient labels of 2 options that were side by side. One ingredient label looked like this, where it's made of just skim milk and then probiotic cultures, whereas option B had an ingredient label that looked like this, that also contained fructose, natural flavors, artificial flavors, modified food starch, which is a thickener, acesulfame, potassium, artificial sweetener, I can't even say it, sucralose, which is a sweetener, and potassium sorbate, which is a preservative. What I'm saying is go with option A in these scenarios. Something else you can also do is if you look at your food at home and see there is a food that you normally eat that has a lot of ingredients, next time you go to the grocery store, see if there's one that has fewer ingredients in it. And then number 5, snack time's over. I'll level with you, this one may not be super important for everybody to do. If you're like me though, and you've dealt with issues regarding gut motility, such as small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, SIBO, I'd recommend trying this out. Imagine if someone was telling you a story, and every time they got interrupted, they started back at the very beginning of the story. You'd probably learn pretty quick to shut up and let them finish the story. You'd probably actually leave them on an island full of snakes, but please just entertain my metaphor for now. Your body also has a system of cleaning out its intestine, starting from the beginning all the way till the end every time that you eat. This system is called the migrating motor complex, aka the MMC, and it may take anywhere from 90 minutes to 4 hours to complete this cleaning depending on the person. When you give your MMC enough time to complete its cleaning, it can clear your small intestine of old food particles. It's kind of like scrubbing a plate completely clean after eating before you go to eat on it again. This is good because these old food particles are more likely to produce gas, cause inflammation, and lead to poor digestion. Try this. Only eat full-size medium to large meals, wait 4 full hours in between meals, and don't eat any snacks. That is all for today. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel for more gut health related content. I post a new full-length video every Monday in YouTube Shorts throughout the week. Since you hung around till the end, check out one of these 2 videos next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.